Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We have an undead duo facing off against the Wood Elves and the Vampire Counts, as there is plenty of undead on the field in this 2v2 matchup, where we have Zakistyle as the Vampire Coast teamed up with ArmyofLight as the Tomb Kings, and we have the StormBlessed as the Counts, and we have Unreal Expectations controlling the Wood Elves. So we have quite a few units here on the field, which we will be getting through it in good time. We have some Vanguard deployments in the back with some Direwolves by the Counts, but they have been very wisely sniffed out by these Nacron Horsemen, and you will see a very similar look on the other Vanguard deployment, as we have some more Nacron Horsemen kind of seeing these dire wolves in the corner. Very good deployment by the Tomb King forces in the initial stages. But for the armies, the Vampire Coast has brought, of course, we have Count Noctilus on his Necrofex Colossus. He's going to be bringing standard stuff for him. He has Raised Dead, Invocation, Wraithstorm, and Captain Roth's Moondial. So pretty standard stuff that you'll be seeing pretty much every time he is on his Necrofex. We also have Queen Bess. But you see these arrows of Kurnus, that might be just all she wrote for that Queen Bess. We also, though, have a Bone Giant going to be helping out there. And we have a Gunnery Wight going to be keeping those artillery fed for all of their nice, juicy ammo. And they will be supported by some trio of handguns, one of which is the Black Spot. And we also have some Zombie Pirate Deckhand mobs. Some with pole arms in the front, and then we of course have some lovely bombers, which are very, very helpful, especially against the undead that they'll be facing off against. We also do have some more handguns, and we have the Morngulls, the Night Terrors, so they have Fear Terror, and they do Rampage, but they have some very nice stats indeed. And that is going to pretty much wrap things up for the Coast Army. Now, for the Tomb Kings, on the other hand, we do have some Tomb Guard in the front. Otherwise, just some Skeleton Warriors for some chaff units to be backed up by the Bombers. And then on the into the forest here, we do have some more Tomb Guard and a Tomb Scorpion as well. And they will be led by Arkin the Black, bringing Spirit Leech, Fate of Buna, Liber Mortis, Staff of Nagash, and the Tomb Blade of Arkin. So again, standard stuff for him. Very good lord here, but he's also going to be bringing a Lich Priest of Nehekara, not something that you will often see. And so for the spell kit that the Lich Priest is going to be bringing, we do have Jaf's Incantation of Cursed Blades, Incantation of Protection, and the Incantations of Righteous Smiting. So if he had just brought Righteous Smiting, that may have made a bit more sense because of the base weapon damage and the armor piercing with bringing the Bone Giant, Count Noctilus, Queen Bess, all that good stuff. Usually that's quite a bit of magic to be cast in for bringing with Arkin as well. Take a look into the forest. Of course, we have those Nahekron horsemen off into that flank, and on the other side we did have a pair of skeleton archers and a couple more horsemen, and that will wrap things up for the Coast and Tomb King army. But now let's kind of swing on over. There is also one more carrion as well, who was scouting earlier on. But for the Wood Elves, we do have Orion, who has taken a few Bone Giant shots to the face, but he does have a little Vanguard deployment of some Way Watchers as well. Very good stuff there. Will do quite well against the large targets of the Tomb Kings and Vampire Coast. For Noctilus, the Bone Giant, if they can get him close enough to in range, could do a lot of damage very, very quickly. Otherwise, we do have a Way Watcher, or Way Stalker, who is going to be bringing that Arrows of Kurnus as that we had seen earlier on. We also have a Spellsinger of Shadows. So this Shadowcaster is going to be bringing Malakos Mystifying Miasma, the Enfeebling Foe, and the Pendulum. So some very decent spells there. Don't see any Lore of Life casters here, but we can see how things shake out there. But in the tree line, we do have 4 War Dancers lying in wait. Actually, it's probably a good idea right now, especially with that Queen Bess firing. They do not want those very expensive units to be getting caught out. We also do have a Wild Hunters of Kurnus also in the tree line. And that is going to be the Wood Elf army. Now for the Vampire Counts that they will be doing battle with, we do have a Blood Dragon Vampire Lord who is bringing Heart Piercing. He also has the Helm of Discord, which is usually why you bring that Blood Dragon Vampire Lord. And otherwise for the spells, we do have Invocation And we have Raised Dead and Van Hell's Dance Macabre. We also have a duo of Blood Knights, also vanguarded in the tree line, looking to pounce on some things if they do get that chance. We have a White King with Scab's Wraith and Sword of Anti-Heroes. We have a Corpse Cart. Front line going to be some zombies mixed in. So we do also have another White King and Corpse Cart on the other flank. And this is just going to be the regular Corpse Cart, so it just has the Vigor Mortis, giving a little bit buff to melee attack and melee defense for the surrounding units. And then we have some Skeleton Warriors in the rear. And that is pretty much going to wrap things up, as there are just some Vargeist as well. But that is going to be it for the armies. And of course, we did see those Dire Wolves in the back earlier on. But that is everything that we've got. And let's get things going, as we do have things firing away. Dire Wolves already trying to get out, and surprisingly they have. So on this far flank, the Horsemen may have missed them earlier on. They were in the tree line, but otherwise, if you take a look at this side, they are going to be going away very, very quickly. Good catch by the Necron Horsemen on that side. But now these Way Watchers are visible right now, but Queen Bess is firing in, only firing into some zombies, but there is the Gunnery White, and it does just need to get as much shots off as it can, because the Arrows of Kurnus are honestly going to take this out very, very quickly. But the Way Watchers are already firing in. It looks like they are targeting that Bone Giant and not doing as much damage, because the Liber Mortis was put down by Arkan. Very good drop there, and these Dire Wolves were trying to get as much damage off as they can, because they were caught out and they just could not get any damage done. But now these Way Watchers are in a bit of a predicament right now, as Queen Bess is firing in, doing a bunch of damage, and we have Arkan is coming in as well with the support of some Skeleton Warriors. Carrion, everything is just coming in. Very nice summon by Arkan with getting those Skeleton Warriors right behind these Way Watchers. And those Wild Hunters are trying to screen things out as quickly as they can, because these Way Watchers are so valuable, and it would be a shame to lose them so early on. And really at this point, either the Wood Elf forces have to either believe they can take out Queen Bess, or they need to start advancing very, very soon. And with those Arrows of Kurnus, getting another cast on them might just be enough to finish off that Queen Bess anyway, so that could be why they are still holding back. But a nice charge in by the Blood Knights, looking to get some nice damage in, but it looks like a Fate of Yuta going down on the Wild Hunters of Kurnus, a very expensive cav unit, taking a lot of damage from that very costly spell. But the Tomb Scorpion actually was in critical binding, taking quite a bit of damage itself from the Blood Knight charge, so very good use there. Another Liber Mortis going down, but these Wild Hunters taking so much damage early on, and they are shattered. Oh, that is a shame for the Wood Elves, as the balance of power quickly taking the favor of the Tomb Kings and Vampire Coast. With the loss of that unit, so it is now just down to the Blood Knights, and they have a lot of counters on the other side. That Bone Giant can do a ton of damage to these Blood Knights, and Count Noctilus himself is a very good anti-cav unit. But it looks like the Way Watchers have been able to be salvaged, at least for the most part, and they do kind of pull back, just taking some shots in to these Tomb Scorpions, but not really good use of its these Winds of Magic, or this ammo here. And I think a little miscast by Orion, as he does get his hounds off. I think he was probably a cast earlier on, and he was just a little out of range, so that cast was probably delayed from when he wanted to. But Queen Bess still firing in, as another shot is arcing its way right into the formation, and I'm not really sure what it was aiming at. It may have been aiming at the Blood Knights, but some of the straggling units were kind of a little bit in the rear. But more shots continuing to rain in, as it is now probably looking to be targeting these Way Watchers, who are still visible right now, especially with these Skeleton Warriors, because I believe this is the summon. It is not. This is actually just one of the Skeleton Warriors who are engaged with Orion right now, but they were at least providing visibility, and now all of the handguns just opening up on this Vargeist right now. My gosh, a little early to probably jump in on that little engagement right here, as there's just so many things surrounding it, and those Vargeist are quickly just going to be mulched to pieces. There's so much handgun fire just absolutely opened up and lit up the sky. Very, very strong damage there, but a Pendulum was trying to go down and catch these bombers, cast a little bit too far behind them, but these bombers are now very far ahead. I think they should be pulling back a little bit, but they are getting some very good shots off into these zombies, but they still have quite a bit of ammo, and they do need to pull back. Another volley from these Way Watchers. Again, not really good use of that ammunition, and now the War Dancers are starting to move in, looking to kind of flank in around the rear At least one of the bombers, though, are taking a considerable amount of damage from these Way Watchers. But again, Way Watchers not really should be firing at that. They really should be targeting Noctilus or that Bone Giant. And really waiting on that second Arrows of Kernus, which should be targeting the Queen Bess momentarily. But it looks like right now it is either still on cooldown, but now the Blood Knights are starting to circle around, but there is quite a bit of handgun fire, and it could be very, very dangerous if that is cast off. Now, Enhanced Ballistics going off from the Gunnery Wight, giving some nice little accuracy and reload skill to the surrounding units, and it looks like we had a little spell coming in, the as one of Orion's abilities. They're trying to catch out some of these polearms, but it was unable to capitalize on that. And now the handgun fires are targeting the Corpse Guard for the time being, and the War Dancers seem to have caught out these Nagrin Horsemen a little bit. They will do quite a bit of damage to them, and especially with the Way Watcher support, will do quite a bit of damage. But if you take a look in the back, these Way Watchers are getting caught out by the rest of the mobility. These two Horsemen are going to be taking both of these Way Watchers out, and the other one has been routed by the Carrion, so there's a very good picks by the Vampire Coast and Tomb King players. Scatchwraith was going down right through these handgun units, and another Pendulum arcing through these bombers. But right now, things not looking so great for the Wood Elf and Vampire counts, though we do have some little tree line shenanigans going on, but a Invocation actually going down on the Queen Bess that does actually heal up the artillery piece itself, which can be a very good cast indeed, so that will prevent those Arrows of Kernus from sniping it out. And I think, Orion taking so much damage right now. He is trying to get after Count Noctilus, but it is just not going to be his day, as those handguns firing point blank into him, and he will be going down. There is no question about that, and that Spellsinger will surely be on the docket for the next targets for all of these handgun fires. Now, the Night Terrors getting into this engagement as well with the War Dancers. They do have a very nice bonus versus infantry. They also are being supported by the Tomb Scorpion as well, so things not going so hot for these Wood Elf forces, but it looks like a nice little Pendulum going to be arcing right through those zombie pirate deckhand mobs and the bomber. But yeah, things very much not looking good for the Wood Elf. The Blood Knights, though, getting a nice little charge here through the middle. This could be the help that they need, getting on top of that Bone Giant. They need to push through. At least one of the units needs to get onto these handguns to keep them from firing, and it looks like one does. But we have another summon from Arkan as he gets a Skeleton Warrior now kind of in the middle of all this, and now in comes that Tomb Scorpion looking to get some extra added support. And yeah, Count Noctilus is still off on the side, so he will be able to fire right into this blob pretty good. So we'll see how much damage things are being able to be taken, and Blood Dragon Vampire Lord really is going to have to hard carry for the Wood Elf and Vampire Counts forces here, as the Coast and Tomb Kings are just pretty much mulching through everything. Some of the Way Watchers have come back, but they are only on 8 models, so that's really not going to do a whole lot. The Waystalker also going off. And their bombers still have ammo, and a lot of handgun fire still on the field, so it's going to be quite hard for these Blood Knights to really get things done. Though on the plus side, I suppose, the Bone Giant is low on ammo, as is Count Noctilus, but that Gunnery Wight still kicking strong. I don't know if it's used any of its extra powder, and there is one of the casts onto Queen Bess, giving Queen Bess a little bit extra ammo, and that's going to be very helpful for the Vampire Coast here. But things looking very grim for everything else, and I think that is pretty much going to be it. Army losses are probably going to be getting fairly close now, even though the balance power is fairly even. I think a lot of that is going to be in the Spellsinger and the Blood Dragon with the 2 Blood Knights. So pretty much all that the Coast forces have to do right now is focus on these 3 units right here, and that's all it's going to be. So the Bone Giant firing in, doing some good damage there. Noctilus should be out of ammo. He is, so at this point now he's just going to be waiting forward, getting some. He can just get some summons in and fire away, as all these handgunners, 2 units just opening up onto these Blood Knights as they do try and retreat into the tree line to get a little bit of protection from all of that missile fire. Waystalker has come back, he is supporting the War Dancers right now. But otherwise, things, just not looking so hot here. Tomb Scorpion with Arkan cleaning up some of the Vampire Count's forces. We still have the White King over here dealing with some of the handguns, so that is a good little pick from the Vampire Count's forces there, but now the Blood Dragon's going to be cycling in. Pretty much, hopefully, the Blood Dragon and the Blood Dragon Vampire Lords are going to have to really just cycle through and try and isolate things as best they can, as there is some isolated Tomb Guard here, which would be a very nice pick. And right now, these the Night Terrors are pretty much just circling around, just chasing right now, not really getting into any engagements. But while they are, these Blood Knights are just kind of going around the map. All of these handgunners, they just need to sit right here in the center ranks and just turn and fire as these Blood Knights are still well within range. A nice Wraith Storm going down onto the Waystalker, doing some decent damage, and it is wavering, and if they are able to sustain, it may be enough to hold that leadership department, but it is pretty much just down to the Vampire Counts to really salvage themselves for their team. But there is some Skeleton Horsemen archers off in the fair, so maybe these Blood Knights can kind of deal with the periphery units, because there is the Tomb Scorpion and Archon off onto the far side, and potentially they could swing around and deal with that. But right now, the Blood Dragon is back to full health right now, and they are engaged with the Night Terrors, and the Night Terrors, they still have 11 models left. There are no slouches in combat. They're really geared towards infantry fight, but they do fairly well against cavalry. Not necessarily Blood Knights, I would say, but like Wild Hunters and stuff like that, they do decent work at screening them out and doing some good damage with a little bit of extra support. But now in wades that Bone Giant, and Nautilus is already engaged in melee right now, and he should still have plenty of magic left, and there is a summon of zombies right there. Not an overcasted one, just a regular summon. As on top of that zombie summon, in comes the Tomb Blade of Archon, getting another summon off, as Archon has been engaged in melee for quite a bit, getting 3 summons that I've seen so far off, so that's pretty good work there. And the Blood Knights are slowly whittling down more and more. Blood Dragon still staying strong, though, that there is still a ton of gunpowder left. Queen Bess has done its job, does not even want to get any more ammo to be firing in. And now it is pretty much a full surround off by the Tomb Kings and Vampire Coast forces. And pretty much, though, that Blood Dragon is a very strong melee combatant, and I'm pretty sure he'd be able to beat all of the lords left on the other side single-handedly. It's just that there's so much infantry support and handgun support that I just don't think that he's really going to get that chance to do so. And these Night Terrors are very good at screening him out. They have very good mass. But otherwise, we just have this blob of forces right now, and it's just down to the Spellsinger on the Wood Elf side. And then it's down to these Blood Knights. And since they're stuck in an engagement right now, I just don't think they're going to be able to pull out. If they're able to like, cycle charge, you could do quite a bit of damage right now. And I mean, the biggest thing, though, is these handguns. The handguns have just so much ammo, and they just need, if they spread out, that's just going to be curtains, and it looks like things are going to be hitting army losses really quick here. The Spellsinger is done. These Blood Knights are slowly going away. A little explosive shot from the Gunnery White coming in as well, and it is just down to a full health Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, but it will not be enough as the balance of power shifts more and more into the favor of the Tomb Kings and Vampire Coast. And on top of that, another summon from Archon, just getting all of the summons throughout the match today. I think that was his 4th one. Very impressive work by Archon here. And otherwise, there is the Disintegration, and Blood Dragon will soon follow. And there he goes, and he is disintegrating once and for all into the sands as the rains wash away the last remnants of the battle. So let's take a look at the after-battle report. Quite a bit went on in that battle there. Blood Knights, they did do fairly well, getting 123 and 76 themselves. But, I mean, they are 1,700 gold, and there wasn't a whole lot of really good targets. They got some decent damage off onto the Tomb Scorpion early on, but I think the play by the Vampire Coast and the Tomb Kings did so well in that early game, especially shutting down the Way Watchers of the Wood Elves, and that I think was the critical component of that battle. These wild hunters were taken out of the battle so early on, and all of these Way Watchers, they never really had a good chance to get their shots off onto the targets they needed to. The Tomb Kings and Vampire Coast did a very good job of keeping their units far enough away where if those Way Watchers wanted to get shots on them, they had to become visible, and at that point it was just target practice for all of the handguns and Queen Bess. Queen Bess doing a ton of work as well, getting 156 kills and a lot of good shots onto Way Watchers and just constant ammo throughout the match by that gunnery white's very good use there. And even though the arrows of Kernus went down on Queen Bess early on, which I thought may be able to take it out or just right off the bat, the invocations from Count Noctilus was able to get that health back up so the arrows of Kernus couldn't snipe it out in one shot. That was very, very good choice of casting on that end. Bombers, I was a little surprised they got a little ahead of themselves early on, but they did good work throughout the course of the battle, and these handguns I think are actually really kind of that low-key MVP of the match, as pretty much they were just able to keep those Blood Knights from getting onto the keen targets of like Count Noctilus, that Bone Giant, because they couldn't get close. That was just how it was. The Blood Knights just could not get close in that late stages of the match and get the damage where they needed it to. Arkin doing very good work as well. He had 4 different summons that I saw. Bone Giant doing very good work, and those deployments of the Horsemen sniffing out these dire wolves early on, very good indeed. Because had those dire wolves been able to get into the back line, that could have done quite a bit of work. And that Vargeist YOLOing a little bit too much in that early stages, definitely needed to hold back and wait until the later stages to get into some keen targets. But that is going to be it for today. A very exciting 2v2, a lot going on. I hope you're able to follow that fairly well, but that will be all. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.